Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road. Are you ready to go? Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today on Live Music Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gill. Today we're with Lynae Sanford, Executive Director of the Lutcher Theater. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good. Lynae, give us a little background on you. Where did you grow up? And then career-wise, how did you transition to the point you're at, Executive Director there at the theater?
Okay. Well, I actually kind of grew up in Orange, Texas, right here where the Lutcher Theater is. And went to Lamar University in Beaumont and studied speech and theater and education. And then went back later and got a master's degree in theater. And so that's where my education lies. I had kind of two different worlds where I was in sales and marketing for a long time. And then I also have sort of an education. So I taught education world where I taught theater and speech. So right before I came to the and had the opportunity to come to the Lutcher as the marketing manager first. So all my worlds kind of came together when I came to the Lutcher marketing theater. And then I did that for about 7 years and then had the opportunity to step into the role of executive director. So I've been in this role for about 5 years.
Do you think there's a distinct advantage to having that marketing role first before the executive? Because really without marketing and that community interaction and the business interaction, you know, the theater is going to suffer a lot. And from what we see in the industry at all, if you can't market, you're going to struggle. And especially fundraising if you're a nonprofit organization.
Right. Right. Absolutely. It made a huge difference. I think, you know, knowing your territory is one thing. So knowing, you know, who your audience is and who you're serving is key. And so all of that, you know, came with my marketing, you know, role. And I think that, you know, everything we do is really in one sense marketing the theater or, you know, the branding the theater or selling a show or whatever. So I think it was huge in helping me to know how to think when booking shows and now when promoting shows.
Oh, for sure. Okay, good. Yeah, tell us about the theater. What do you guys do there? What do you house in-house, and then what kind of acts do you bring in?
Okay, great. We are we are a 1,500 seat state-of-the-art world-class performing arts center right in the middle of downtown Orange, Texas. And Orange, Texas is a population of about 18 to 20,000, but we are just so fortunate to be geographically located about 35 miles from Lake Charles, about 30 miles from Beaumont. So about 20% of our audience comes from Southwest Louisiana, about 20%, 25% comes from the Beaumont Mid-County area, and then on. So that's who we service basically. We are one of the programs, of the Nelda C. and Lutcher, H.J. Lutcher Stark Foundation. And we are one of 4 sister venues. They own Shangri-La Botanical Gardens and Nature Center. They own the Stark Museum of Art. They own the W.H. Stark House. And we are the 4th venue. We're a program of the Stark Foundation, but we are a separate nonprofit. Lutcher Theater Inc. is a separate nonprofit, which means that the Stark Foundation supports us, and then they pay our salaries and they keep up our building and grounds. But Lutcher Theater Inc. Raises money for programming through ticket sales, through sponsorships, grants, and donations. So that's kind of how we're set up. We are what you call a presenter. So we present, we don't produce anything in-house. And we are the prominent presenter of Broadway in this area. So national Broadway tours that come through, we get the exact same shows that go to much larger markets.
Okay.
Same shows that are going to New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Houston. We're kind of the largest performing arts series between New Orleans and Houston.
Okay.
We also present in between all the Broadway. We present other musical artists. Sometimes we've had we've had BB King, Willie Nelson, Aaron Neville, Kristen Chenoweth. We've had
Yeah,
lots of big names here as well.
absolutely, absolutely. Lynae, do you miss, or do you still get to perform? Do you miss that aspect?
I missed that question.
Do
It
do
froze.
you do you miss the performance side of things now that you're in
Um,
more of the administration role?
I did do some acting and a lot of directing in before, and I do miss that somewhat. But this is a whole different world that I love, and I love being able to bring the performing arts to Southeast Texas, Southwest Louisiana. I love to be able to see something in New York or at a conference or whatever, and say this is amazing, and everybody's got to see this, and where I live. So I love that aspect of it as well, and it was really something that I was not really aware of when I was going through college and in my
Sure.
earlier
Do
days of
you
career.
do you find that aspect in other areas of your life, or just in this, like if you look back, have you always kind of just been attracted to bringing people together and uniting new experiences?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I'm a people person, and I love to get people together and get them involved in whatever the project is, I guess you would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
I've done this kind of thing like at church through the years, where I would direct a production and try to get everybody involved in whatever, kind of a different thing, but kind of the same. So yeah, I love bringing people together, and especially for the purpose of enjoying and appreciating the performing arts.
That's cool. I'm gonna dig at this a little bit because I always love why people choose the careers that they do. Think back to when you were a kid. Like, were you a party planner? Did you was that something like, were you the one that kind of organized things, and was that you as a youngster?
Yes, I was.
Okay, okay. Because I
I was
always
a
like to,
yeah.
when we do these podcasts, sometimes they get into hands of all ages, and I know that there are little boys and little girls and little kids all over that kind of just like, they're like, man, I never thought about this, but I want to do what she's doing, even though they may not know the Broadway side of things yet, but they like that aspect of planning parties for their kids, or you could even go back to a 3-year-old, and putting together a tea party.
Right.
It's kind of unique that you can describe it that way, and then you can see it all of a sudden. I just see all these different avenues of different age people that could fill a role of executive director, because that's exactly what you do as you
Mhm.
go through there. So that's neat. That's very cool that you were able to add that insight. Yep. Hey,
Right.
let's have fun real quick. What's the best Broadway production that you've ever seen?
I was thinking about, I've seen some great ones. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could list off some things to you. I mean, so it's hard to pick one. But I was thinking about this today, that I saw the Lincoln Center version of The King and I a few years
Oh,
back. And I was blown away with the opening scene where from backstage left, a ship came out into the middle of the audience. Basically, it's sort of a theater, almost it's sort of a thrust stage anyway.
uh-huh.
So audience was kind of on 3 sides of the stage, and this what looked like a real life ship, kept crossing out into the middle of the audience. And the group I was with, we were just like, hitting each other, going, "Can you believe this? This is so cool! This is so cool!" And it's those kind of moments that you're just like blown away with the creativity and technology and things that you
Yeah.
know people can do with the performing arts.
I wanna see that.
That's a
Even
brain level
like, yeah,
above
I want
me.
to see the YouTube version of this. Even just to see it on video. And I know it's not the same, but
Right.
to see that would be spectacular. All right. Okay,
Right.
so dead or alive, you could bring one musical act to your theater. Who would you bring?
Okay. Well, I mean, it'd have to be the Eagles.
Okay.
I mean, it just have to be. I mean,
Yeah.
I started to say Chris Stapleton, but I do love me some old fashioned Eagles. And,
Fantastic.
they're going to be a little bit above my price range for a 1,500 seat hall.
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter. This is all theoretical, and you just never know what's going to happen. You've got the connections, so
okay, yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Lynae, how do people find out more about the theater?
They can visit Lutcher.org.
Okay.
And find out all about us there. We also have of course, we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page and YouTube and all those good social media things that people can find us at Lutcher Theater for the Performing Arts on all those great channels.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine.